All right, Dana, can you hear me okay?
Yep, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
All right. Looks like we are live. So we will give it just a minute or two before getting started to give people a chance to get on. I am so glad that you guys are all here. Everybody who's participating either live or listening to this as a recording after the fact. Really excited to talk about some strategies for how to really overcome the challenges that you have and start to really make significant changes in terms of your performance. So we're going to give it just another minute or two before we get started. I want to make sure we're live in all the platforms. All right. Dana, I'm going to have you just mute until you have want to jump in or join in. So the topic of this webinar is around evolving you to overcome challenges and achieve your goals. And we know that from science and substantial research that when we increase our emotional intelligence, that is really the secret to gaining massive momentum in our lives, to really making significant and lasting change in our lives. So today's discussion, we're gonna hit on a few different topics. We're going to talk about the different challenges we face, why it's so hard to change, how we can overcome these challenges and actually create lasting change, how to ensure your success, and then at the end, we have a really special offer of some resources to offer you all in order to help you on your journey and to get started and begin making progress. Little bit about who I am. So I am the owner of Evolving to Exceptional. Our business has been in place for about a year and a half. I spent over a decade in the corporate workplace managing multiple different functions: HR, IT, order management, customer service, legal. I'm also a certified coach. I've published multiple books, host a podcast, do a lot of different consulting and coaching work. And I know from the various awards that my programs have won and the business awards that my prior organization won, the impact that strong performance and really effective coaching and management can have on our lives, both in the workplace, but also at home and in our lives in general. And so, why is this topic so important to me? And I'm going to come back to this later, but these are my kids. So, I have twin 3-year-old girls and a 6-year-old boy. And the last, few years of my life were really challenging. I went through a pretty extreme burnout as a result of my twins were 9 months during the pandemic. As a result of the pandemic, the challenges throughout it, the my organization downsizing, we were the victim of a ransomware attack. As a result of all of that, I went through a pretty extreme burnout when I left my prior organization, and I made a choice to really work on some of the issues and some of the challenges that were preventing me from showing up as the best person and the best human that I could be for my kids. And I've seen the impact of doing this work, of putting in the effort on my kids, on how much it helps them and how much it changes our experience as a family and how I relate to them as their mother. And so it's really important to me. And I'm so passionate about looking for ways to help other people have these life transformations, to be able to deal with these various challenges that we face in our lives. And most of us are all trying to work on and be better at different things. We're always looking to how can we improve, how can we evolve. I like to say it's just part of the human experience, and it's something that for most of us is really important, is how do we understand and continue to be better as we show up in our lives. And there's a lot of different challenges that you might be facing or you might be experiencing in your life. And here's just a few examples of things that maybe have come up for you that are worth exploring, are worth looking at how to improve. So one is just creating new habits. A lot of people at the beginning of the year look to create new habits or make changes in their lives, wanting to improve either their life or their work or home performance. Another is to reduce stress and burnout. So, clearly speaking from personal experience of massively high stress and the effects of burnout, exhaustion, and overwhelm, looking for ways to overcome and deal with and figure out how to better manage those challenges is really critical. We've seen a lot of evidence that there truly is a burnout epidemic in the world today, and that there is a real need for lasting change in this space. Another is being really reactive or attacking. Do you have a tendency to explode at others, maybe attack others when you're frustrated, or even be passive aggressive when you're angry or you're hurt? And you would like to change that. You'd like to be able to be more intentional with how you respond rather than reactive. Another might be to develop more meaningful relationships with greater connection, and to really be able to express and feel empathy for others. I've worked with a lot of people who really struggle with that, really struggle to express that, to understand that, and that is a skill set that maybe you're looking to develop. Maybe you're looking to figure out how you create that greater connection in your life. Maybe you're someone who's spent a lot of time numbing, avoiding, or struggles to name emotions that you're experiencing. Maybe you hide your emotions or even struggle to identify, express, or avoid feeling them. This looks like, numbing out on Netflix, or sometimes we numb ourselves by binge eating or using other types of substances in order to not deal with the underlying issue, to not deal with the root cause or the root problem that's underneath the surface. And then finally, perfectionism and storytelling. So often times we tend to struggle with being really hard on ourselves, really critical, constantly criticizing ourselves, feeling like we're never good enough, no matter how hard we work, no matter what we do, no matter how much effort we put in, we're never good enough. And the flip side of that is that we may be making up stories or judging other people, saying that they're not good enough, or they don't do enough for us, or they don't do what they should be doing, and finding ourselves on the other side of that. So if these are some of the challenges that you're facing, what if instead you could experience better relationships with deeper connection, relationships that are meaningful and impactful and truly connected on a level that is far deeper than how they exist today? What if you could improve your productivity, your overall self-confidence, and even your creativity, your ability to come up with solutions and solve problems and make better decisions? What if you could experience greater self awareness and emotional intelligence, where you could identify and understand what you're experiencing, why you're experiencing it, and work through it so that you can understand yourself better? And what if, as a result of all of that, you could experience more joy, happiness, peace, and love in your life? Most of us would say, absolutely. That sounds great. I definitely want all of those things. Certainly, most of us do. That's what we really would like to be accomplishing or feeling or experiencing in our lives. And the truth is that we can have all of these things. You absolutely can have more of all of these things in your life. You just have to be willing to take the right actions, for yourself to accomplish them. You just have to be willing to make sure that you do the right things in order to address them and create this in your life for yourself. Now, the new year is a common time when people start to set New Year's resolutions, and they come up with ways to make changes to start fresh. Even me knowing the challenges with this, I do this every year. Okay, so new year, new start. What are we going to do different? How are we going to make it different? How are we going to be even better? The problem is that most New Year's resolutions fail. In fact, according to Forbes magazine, 80% of people fail at their New Year's resolutions by February. We're only a couple weeks into January. That means most people are going to give up by the time we get to next month, which means they're not going to experience change in their lives. Means they're not going to get to those positive outcomes that we just described, that we just talked about. So, why is it that so many attempts to make changes in our lives actually fail? Why do so many people fail to make the changes that they're so passionate about creating in their lives? And we've found that there's really three key elements that contribute to this challenge and the resulting failure. And that is surface solutions. So, solutions that are focused only on the surface issue, only on what you see at the top. Generic suggestions. So, taking on new habits that are the same as everyone else would use, that are not unique to you, that are not applied in any unique way, but are just generic. And they lack support. They try to just willpower their way through without actually having the support and accountability you need to be successful. So let's dive into these just a little bit deeper. When we think about surface solutions, most solutions that you see in terms of performance, coaching, development, improvement, they address what's easy to see. They address what's on the surface or the behavior, and not the root emotion or issue that's really the cause of the challenges. So we try to change that behavior without getting to that root cause, and so we don't actually take the time to understand the root feelings or emotions, know them, express them, or see how they're relating to the issue or the challenge that we're experiencing. So, for example, say someone is struggling to perform at work, and we address their failure to complete a task, to complete the work that they're performing, rather than getting to the root issue. Maybe the root issue is actually they feel very overwhelmed, or they're confused, or they're frustrated. If they're overwhelmed or confused, it's not really that they're failing to complete a task. It's that there's an underlying emotion or challenge that we have to deal with first before we can actually change that behavior. So one way I like to think about this is using this iceberg analogy. Our results or actions are at the top of that, and our behaviors are what are creating those results or actions. But when we go beneath the surface, we start to see that it's really how we're thinking that's that is impacted by how we're feeling, that is impacted by our emotions. And then at the base of that is actually our physiology. And what we know from science today is that our emotions are not a choice. What we experience as emotion is coming out of our automatic nervous system, out of our automatic physiological response to our environment, based on our pre-wired neurology, based on the circuits that have formed in our brain based on our life experience. And so if we stop at behaviors, if we stop at what's at the top of the surface level, and we don't deal with all of the things below it, then changing the behavior is virtually impossible. It takes willpower, and it does not result in transformational learning. And so we really have to get at that root level. And this is why most attempts at change, most attempts at performance get it wrong, because they're not focused on those lower levels. They're not focused on those other elements that lead to the behaviors and ultimately the results in the actions. So let's talk for a second about the generic suggestions. Most of the time, when we're trying to make changes, we're trying to make changes based upon what we've seen work for others. There are a million self-help books out there, a million different 10-step models, 6-step models, 12-step models for how to create change. Um, Companies make thousands and thousands of dollars off of change management programs, and all of this is to try to help people follow this advice or checklist of actions that's worked for someone else. And we get these through these trainings, or through or through these self-help books. And what happens is that we actually struggle to integrate what's worked well for someone else into our lives to create real lasting change, because it's not really applied to your unique real life situation. The things that you want to change or do differently, the problems that you need to solve in your life. And generically, or at a high level, they may look the same, but we know when we dive in deeper, when we look at the deeper root issue, that what's happening to one person may be really different than what's happening to someone else. Why one person exhibits a lack of accountability or struggles with maintaining their health might be completely different, a completely different reason for another individual who's struggling with their health, or that they're demonstrating a lack of accountability. And so, if we aren't identifying our own unique wisdom, tapping into our inner knowledge and knowing for what actions are going to be best for us, for how to rewire our own neuro circuits, our own neurological pathways to create this change, then we're not going to see the same results. We're not going to see as effective of solutions and outcomes, because we're trying to apply what's worked well for someone else. And then the last reason that oftentimes these attempts fail is a lack of support. And I just released a podcast today talking about my own experience with coaching, and how I think the biggest mistake I made in my career thus far was not getting a coach sooner, was not seeking out the support of a coach earlier in my career, because there are so many benefits from having that perspective, from having that relationship and that input. And when we go to like a one time training, or we watch an online video, it's so easy to forget what we learned. It's so easy to lose it. And then a roadblock pops up. Something gets in the way, our time gets away from us. We get busy with our kids or our work or our challenges, and we don't come back to the work that we wanted to do, because without support, it's so much harder to take consistent action. It's so much harder to stay committed, to keep coming back to the issues, to keep working through them. And I've been working with a client recently, and one of the things I've seen is how quickly she's been able to move through some of her challenges, through some of her limiting beliefs, in just a matter of weeks, in just a matter of a few sessions, where she had struggled with those things for many, many years, despite being managed, despite being in a corporate workplace, in a setting that should have an abundance of resources. And so, even though we think of our professional development or our work should happen in the workplace and it should be provided by the workplace, what I've discovered is, if you really want to make major change in your life, getting that support, getting that coaching support as early and as quick as it is possible to do so, is really going to ensure your road to success, is really going to ensure you see the outcomes that you want to see in your life. So, if these are the challenges, how can we overcome them? How can you overcome these challenges with making change in your life? And we know that understanding your emotions and actions that will work for you is the secret sauce. If you can get to that level, that's really what's going to make the difference. So, what are some steps around this solution for you? When we kind of think of these three things as being really critical for you to make it be different for you, to see a different result or outcome in your life or in your experience. So, the first is to understand your emotions. The second is to improve your emotional intelligence. And the third is to identify actions aligned with your unique wisdom. What is going to work best for you? So let's dive into those a little bit deeper. So the first is to understand your emotions. And most people actually don't understand their emotions or and can't name very many emotions. I did a keynote about 6 months ago where I asked everybody in the audience to, in 30 seconds, name as many emotions as they could. And I don't think anybody had were able to name more than 15 emotions in that time. And most people actually stop at three. Most people can't get beyond happy, sad, and mad. Those are the typical answers that you get, and then people start to struggle. If you look at this emotional wheel, and this is one of the tools that exist, and we're going to talk about another one later for how to identify your emotions and name them, you can see that there are actually a lot of different emotions. And it starts at a root level, but then as you dig into that base emotion, there's so many other elements of what can be going on. So you may be angry, may appear as anger, but as you dive into the emotion, you may discover that it's actually you're scared and you are experiencing fear, or you're experiencing frustration, and that frustration is coming out of confusion. And so you start to get down deeper to what is really going on within the emotions. So the first step is to get better at understanding your emotions and being able to name them, being able to be aware of what, not just at the surface level, but what are those underlying emotions that are leading you to feel or react or respond a certain way. And then the next, and that leads us into really understanding emotional intelligence and improving your emotional intelligence. So, something I didn't realize pretty earlier in my career, and coaching has really helped me with, is that emotional intelligence is a skill that you can develop, that you can be bad at it and get better at it. And I can promise you, my former employees would probably tell you when I started out as a manager, I was not very good at it. That I did not understand necessarily some of the skill sets, and I didn't take the time to really connect in ways and understand emotions. They just seemed unnecessary to getting the job done. What I've discovered is, especially working with workplaces and around employee engagement, is that if you don't deal with the emotions are going to deal with you. They are going to cause more issues in your workplace and in your life than if you deal with them directly, than if you understand what's going on, especially as managers and leaders. So, emotional intelligence, and the definitions on the slide here, is the capacity to be aware of, manage, and express one's emotions, to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. And and it really is important to recognize that when as we develop our emotional intelligence, as we are able to get to and identify our emotions, that is again what's going to get us to those root issues and increase the chance for change and success in our lives. So cultivating this skill is actually how you then can create more change on a regular basis. So there's four elements that I like to focus on when we think about emotional intelligence. The first is self-awareness. So this is identifying and understanding your emotional state without self-judgment. So it's just being able to say, I'm angry, or I'm scared. Why am I scared? What's going on? It's just being aware of what you're experiencing. The second then is self management. And this is the influence or control you have over those positive and negative emotions. So, this is your ability to, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is, I'm angry, but I'm not going to explode and be reactive. I can manage that. I can manage my emotions, and respond with intention. Self expression then is understanding and managing your emotions so you can move through them constructively and move on. So, this is, how do I, if I'm angry, how do I express my anger in a way that allows me to move through that emotion, move beyond it, and doesn't suppress or bury it. Often, when we don't have good self expression, we have a tendency to just ignore it. I felt a certain way. I'm going to pretend I didn't. I'm going to push that away. I'm going to ignore that feeling. What ends up happening is usually explosions. People that explode a lot are the ones that tend to bury their emotions. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I've got it. I'm in control. I'm handling everything. And then all of a sudden we're not. All of a sudden we're angry, we're exploding, usually at the people that we love and care about the most. And then the last element is empathy. And this is really imagining someone's feelings without actually taking them on as our own feelings. So being able to really understand and relate to what someone else is feeling or going through. And this skill is so critical to great management, to great being a great leader, to being a great um to having great relationships in general. Because if you can't relate to others, if you can't understand what they're going through, it's really hard to build those deeper and more meaningful connections. It's really hard to move through the challenges and the relationship issues and the things that come up in any relationship, in the workplace, in your home, in your life, unless you have this skill set. And so the all four of these are part of what make up your overall emotional intelligence, and they all can be worked on and developed as individual skills and collectively as an overall capability of having that emotional intelligence. So the last thing you can do to really make a difference is to select actions that are unique for you. And so rather than applying the 12-step process that has worked well for others, if you can tap into your own inner knowing of what actions are going to be best for you, that is going to increase your chances of success tenfold. That is going to make a huge difference in terms of what you're able to accomplish and how long that change is going to last. That's going to make a long-term difference. Now, getting ideas from coaches, reading, going to trainings are all incredibly helpful. And I'm not negating any of that value and what that brings and what that provides, because understanding those perspectives, alternate perspectives, and understanding what possible actions can be extremely helpful, especially when you're encountering something maybe you haven't experienced before or wanting to look at something from a perspective you haven't considered before. But then once we have those, then we have to run them through our own wisdom to see what feels and fits best for us, to see what is going to really work for us in our lives. Now, when I talk about unique wisdom, and I'll go into in a little bit a deeper a way of doing this, but for you on your own, it is really checking in with yourself, checking in with your own heart and inner knowing to know that that action or that change or that direction is really what's best for you.
Can I just pipe in here for just a second, because I really want to, and we'll get into it more, but I want to just build the why. Our world is actually requiring this of us now. With the internet and information overload, you can get this opinion here, that opinion there, and they're contradicting, but they're both saying they're right. It is requiring of us our own inner wisdom. And it's so common that we turn our power over to somebody else to tell us what to do and what's right for our life. Even if you don't think that you are, there are ways that we do it that are so sneaky and tricky, with the people in our lives that mean the most. Again, it's okay to get feedback and information, but at the end of the day, checking in and really strengthening your inner wisdom, your inner knowing for what's best for your life is going to be the greatest benefit, because your unique answers are different than someone else's, even if we're talking about the same problem or issue. And that's why it's so important, is our world really is requiring this of us now. And it's why we as a company feel so passionate about including this in the work that we're doing.
Absolutely. And I think you're right. I think it's actually become more common. And the statistics actually show the effect of emotional intelligence, right, Dana?
Yeah, emotional intelligence is actually, they're doing so many amazing research and studies on this, and they're really finding that emotional intelligence predicts your success, and it can actually predict more, what's the word? It's slipping my mind.
More
Higher income.
income.
Yeah,
Yeah.
higher income.
Yeah, so it's
Earning more money.
4 times more accurate at predicting success than IQ. And emotional intelligence is something that you can change, you can develop for yourself. And when you do, those that have high emotional intelligence scores actually equate to $29,000 more per year than those with lower scores. That's a significant increase. And I'm willing to bet a vast majority of that is because those with high emotional intelligence actually make incredible managers and leaders. They
Mhm.
can take on so much more and can actually work through issues and challenges with people in ways that their competitors or others truly can't. So if you really want to get ahead in terms of your performance and your career and your development, this is a really critical skill set for that reason, let alone the effects it's going to have on your own life. So what can you do to ensure your success? What can you do to ensure your success? And what we've done is we've put together and we've created a tool to try to help you to be more successful, and it's called our Evolving You app. And our Evolving You app is really meant to increase your odds of success. So, this solution is we've tried to put together a solution, and this is our pilot to give you a tool and resources to help you get started, to help you with how to do these steps more effectively. So, the first is our technology. And what we've created and we're in partnered with Vibonics, the technology that's powered by Vibonics is a brand new technology that measures your emotional intelligence, and it's coupled then with our neuroscience-based on-demand training and coaching in order to really create significant results in your life, in order to really create the change you want. So, I'm going to play a video in a second that highlights this, but what this technology is it's a voice recognition technology that uses your voice to measure your emotional intelligence and the emotions that you're experiencing. So, this is a way, unlike trying to learn my emotions on my own, this is a way for me to know based on my physiology, based on what's going on inside my body, that using our voice frequency, we can actually tell what people are feeling, what they're experiencing in any given moment, and how skilled they are in terms of their emotional intelligence. So I'm going to play a short video here that kind of highlights the technology and how it works and why it's so valuable.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed or disconnected from your own thoughts and emotions? Do you find yourself being reactive to those around you at work or at home? Do you feel stressed or burnt out? If so, our new Evolving You app can help you. In our app, you will find several features to help step you through understanding and connecting more with yourself and others in a healthier way. Our app features highly accurate voice frequency technology to interpret the frequencies in your voice that are unique to the corresponding emotions. In a matter of moments, our technology identifies and segments the top positive energy emotions and top negative energy emotions that are coming through in real time in your voice. You can track your emotions, see your results, identify your trends in your months, and get tips on small and simple ways to improve your self-awareness, emotional management and expression, and your ability to have more empathy for yourself and others. As part of the app, we have included over 50 educational modules in the latest neuroscience-based coaching and behavioral modeling that will help you understand and grow in trusting yourself more, managing and expressing your emotions in healthy ways, and improving your ability to make high-quality decisions at work and in your personal life from your own highest wisdom. Statistics show that 90% of the top performing employees score high on emotional intelligence assessments and earn up to $29,000 more a year than those with average emotional intelligence scores. Individuals with higher emotional intelligence also report feeling more engaged, more socially aware, and more self-aware in their lives, therefore creating an overall more satisfying and happy individual. We are committed that as we continue to grow, our app will continue to grow in the latest tools and personal growth and development and coaching to continue to support you for years to come. Emotions are part of the human experience. No one escapes them, everyone feels them, and everyone is affected by them. So wouldn't it be valuable to invest in strengthening your ability to identify, manage, and express them? If you are ready to step into the next best version of you, have more peace and satisfaction in your work and home life with more meaningful connections to yourself and others around you, then we invite you to invest in your best future today with the Evolving You app. After all, the greatest gift you can give yourself and others around you is that of your own self-transformation. So invest in your best future today by subscribing to the Evolving You app and begin living the life you were born to love.
So that was just a brief video to give you a sense of the technology and what it can provide. And so our solution to really help you be successful is around the three things that we talked about really get in the way. So the first is really providing that extra support, that superior support. The second is getting to those root emotions and issues. And then the third is identifying your unique wisdom. How do we find the actions that are best for you? So diving into these a little bit deeper, there's three elements that we are including to really provide you the highest level of support. So the first is we actually are able to monitor your emotional intelligence data. So as you take that on that assessment using the app, we will be able to monitor your results, see what emotions you're experiencing, where your level of emotional intelligence is, which then allows us to offer you personalized suggestions. So we can send you via the app technology specific suggestions for videos to watch, actions to take, and next steps to support you as you're working through those emotions, to support you as you're working on specific issues to navigate those and continue to develop and grow your emotional intelligence. And then finally, we offer live one-on-one coaching where we can actually dive more deeply into these specific issues in short sessions that are on demand and that you can schedule as you need to in order to go a level deeper. So as you're experiencing certain things or issues come up, we can then help walk you through those issues, those challenges. So how do we do that? How do we go to that root emotion or that root issue? So the first is we're going to use that real-time objective data. So instead of you having to guess at what is already hard to do, which is naming emotions or identifying emotions, we have some objective data to tell us what's going on. And I've been using this for myself for about the last 4 or 5 months or so. And what I have discovered is how often I actually am not aware of one of the emotions that I'm experiencing. Now we experience lots of emotions at the same time, but oftentimes I'm feeling off, but I don't know why. And when I take an assessment, I discover, oh, I'm actually have a lot of anger going on. And then I'm able to identify what's causing me anger. And I wouldn't have even been able to be aware of it if not for the technology. Next, it allows us to move through those issues more quickly and more effectively. So instead of addressing the behavior and stopping at that level, by getting to that root emotion, we can resolve the issue itself. We can resolve the what created that emotion in the first place, or what is triggering that emotion in the first place, and work on then rewiring your neural pathways to be different, to have you take different actions and get different results. And that means what happens, the output of what we do are actually really long lasting and impactful results. It is not about having the willpower to sustain the change. It's about rewiring your neurocircuits, so that your neural pathways, so that you get the long-term result because of how you did the work to work through the issue and to make the change.
Can I say one thing right here too that I've loved? Because I've been using the app now for several weeks, and I love being busy. I'm an independent mom working, being so busy in what I'm doing right now. This has been so helpful for two reasons. One, that real-time feedback. I actually have studied emotional intelligence for several years. I love the topic. I'm passionate about it. And I noticed the app has strengthened my resolve and trust in myself, knowing that I know myself. I know how I'm feeling. And so when other people give me feedback, I can reflect and trust myself more. I've loved that result. I also have really loved the results of the tips. When I have an emotion, I can click on it and I can go in and get tips in real time of things that I could do right there and then, take 5 minutes, make a difference and improve my score and see it happen in real time. And that kind of feedback is really, it's creating faster results and helping me move through in ways that's been so helpful. It's like having a little, coach in my pocket.
It really is, and that's what we want it to be, right? We want it to be something that you can use and get feedback on, and then have opportunity to dive deeper when you want to dive deeper. And just to kind of highlight how the challenges that we talked about at the beginning relate to these 4 areas around the emotional intelligence. So when you think about self-awareness, this might be that you confuse different emotions. You might feel angry, but you're actually afraid. Or you might be trying to stay busy so you can ignore your emotions. And so your numbing behavior, or your eating, or your binging on TV shows might actually be because you're avoiding feeling a certain emotion. Self-management. This is, you might be really reactive to people and circumstances, or allow people, circumstances, and events to impact how you feel. So if it's a rainy day, suddenly you're having a bad day. If someone else is crabby, now you're going to be crabby or negative or unhappy. Self-expression is, you might be highly reactive. You might explode at other people because you don't know how to express your emotions in healthy or effective ways. Maybe you compartmentalize your emotions rather than express them. You bury them or put them away. Or maybe you're even to the level of being manipulative or passive aggressive, making those snide, sarcastic comments that are actually really a passive aggressive way to express what you're feeling underneath the surface. And then finally, empathy. Maybe you want to understand better, or you're struggling to understand and relate to how others feel. Maybe you don't feel like you have a lot of connection and you want more meaningful connection. Or maybe you lack empathy towards yourself. Maybe you're feeling a lot of self criticism or not feeling good enough about yourself or your life, in which case you need to learn how to express and feel that empathy just for yourself in your own life. And so these are the types of challenges that, as we cultivate these 4 elements of emotional intelligence, we can deal with, we can improve, and we can work through and actually resolve with lasting change in our lives. And then the last element is your unique wisdom. And one of the things that we do that's different is we apply a coaching modality that is based on multiple brain integration techniques. And so our approach to coaching is around integrating your 3 brains. Now, maybe you knew you had 3 brains, maybe you didn't. But science has shown, and I didn't before I learned this, but science has shown that there are neurons not just in our head brain that we're most familiar with, but also in our heart and in our gut brain. And in fact, most of the messages are going up to our head brain rather than down from our head brain. So there's far more information coming up from the other parts of our body, our heart and our gut, to our brain, giving it information than our head brain is giving to the rest of our body. And each of these different areas that have these neurons in them are responsible for a specific set of prime functions or a specific set of activities that are their primary responsibility. And these aren't all totally going to come as a surprise because I think intuitively many of us have known this before. But our head brain is the cognitive perception. So it's how we take in information with our senses, how we feel things, our thinking, how what we think about things, what's going on in our minds, and then how we make meaning of it. How do we make meaning of the experiences that we have? How did that conversation impact my relationship? How do I feel about, or how did what I learned fit with it my overall context of how I see the world? Our heart brain, on the other hand, is responsible for our emotions, our emoting, our relational affect, which is how we relate to other people, and our values, what we find important to us, what we're passionate about, what matters to us. And none of these are really a surprise, right? We often feel the emotions in our heart, and the truth is that that's very real because we have neurons there. And that's why we feel connection from there, and that's why our value, our passion, when we talk about our what our hearts are into, or our hearts into are passionate about something. And then the third is our gut brain. And our gut brain is the one that most people are the least familiar with. But our gut brain is responsible for mobilization. So that's taking action. So anywhere in your life where you're struggling to take action, it's likely something that's going on in your gut. It's also responsible for self-preservation or safety. This is where we often say, "Oh, I have had a bad feeling about that," or "My gut told me something was wrong. My gut, my instinct." We use these words to describe what actually is going on, which is that our gut is responsible for keeping us alive, for preserving our lives. And then finally, our core identity. It's where who we are at our core lives, where who we are and how we see ourselves it resides within our gut brain. And when we can actually integrate these three parts of ourselves, when we can integrate them around the same direction, change, or action in our lives, then we're able to get to that highest wisdom and choose the most effective and impactful action for moving forward in our lives. That's how we get to the unique wisdom rather than applying what's worked for everyone else. So you have to do the work to actually go through all three and align them. But when we do this, when we align our intelligences in this way, we're able to identify the best actions for ourselves. And anytime one of the three is out of alignment and we haven't done that work, we are going to inevitably fail at the goals we're trying to accomplish. We are going to inevitably fall short of being successful. So, this is a really impactful way to bring about and make those changes. So, I want to talk for just a second, just a little bit about who we are and why we're doing this at Evolving to Exceptional at our business. So, our coaching team is made up of myself, Meldina Elabasic, and Dana Parker. And the three of us come from fairly different backgrounds with a lot of experience around coaching and certifications in these various coaching modalities. And we as a business are just so passionate about helping people to live exceptional lives, helping them to get exceptional results in their lives and in their workplaces. Our what we really value as an organization is creating just phenomenal experiences, amazing experiences for our customers and our coaching clients by using this latest research and information on people and performance in all of our programs, services, and coaching so that we can produce significant results, so that we can produce massive outcomes and change in your life. We also fundamentally believe that evolving is essential to the human experience, that growing and developing is so important to people's growth, and that we have to do it in ways that create exceptional results in life experiences. We want to grow in ways that make our lives and our world a better place. We also want to have authentic accountability. We always want to show up with high self awareness, commitment, and taking responsibility for our actions, no matter what they are, is essential to our success. And then finally, we value always connecting, striving to create solutions and programs that are going to support long-term partnerships and build meaningful connections with the clients, customers, and people that we're serving. So what is it that exactly that we do? So evolving to exceptional, we focus on evolving workplaces and evolving individuals. We know that one of the biggest challenges in the world today is the increasing levels of stress and burnout that people are experiencing in their lives. And so we look at burnout and the challenges there, and that there's two things we have to address. We have to address the culture or the environment that's creating the systems and structures that are creating the experiences that lead to burnout, that lead to that stress and burnout. So, our workplaces. And we need to address the individuals' limiting beliefs and fears, which are creating and making us susceptible to stress and burnout, susceptible to the behaviors that will lead to stress and burnout. And so, in a world today that is just filled with so many challenges and so many issues, and that we have more awareness and visibility to all of those challenges than we ever have before in history, we want to work on how do we evolve the systems and structures of the workplace, and how do we address stress, burnout, fears, and limiting beliefs within individuals. And then how do we cultivate practices and mindsets that create results while preventing this stress and burnout. And so we've created different solutions for our workplaces. We have a talent enablement program. For our individuals, we have this Evolving You program, and then we also have a peak performance program that supports both. But in the end, the result that we want to see for our people is that we provide these solutions and supports that support both workplaces and individuals in implementing the necessary practices to address the challenges in the world today in order to create these exceptional experiences and results. So that means exceptional business results. That means exceptional life results and experiences in our lives. And that we believe by doing these things, we can create significant impacts and outcomes in the world today. And going back to kind of the how I started this whole session out, for me, this is so important to how we show up for our families, for our kids, for the world. And if we can do the work, if we can invest in the work to increase our emotional intelligence, to increase our awareness, to work through these challenges, we are going to create a better life and a better world for our kids and for the people that we love and care about most in the world. And not only that, since I've been using the multiple brain integration techniques with my children, it has transformed their level of emotional intelligence, their level of understanding, and how they check in with themselves and how they relate to and experience themselves, even at this incredibly young age. So I believe so strongly in this, which is why we are going to be offering some extremely valuable tools and initial offers as we're bringing this app and offering it for the first time ever. So want to address how you can actually get started if you're now really interested and excited about learning about your emotions and how to maybe get some coaching. So first, we have a free guide to understanding and addressing burnout, and we'll include the link in the comments to this guide. It's on our Evolving You landing page, so you can grab it. But this is just a free resource for anybody who wants to better understand the difference between stress and burnout, and what are some of the things you can do to address or respond to it, or look at how to make changes in your life around it. Next, we have a couple of different pilots and coaching programs that we're offering around the app. So the first is that we have a New Year's offer for everyone who wants to sign up. Anyone who signs up in the month of January gets 1 month free access to the Evolving You app. So if you just want to get in, check it out, see what the training looks like, try out the technology that's powered by Vibonics, see what it's like to measure your emotional intelligence, you can jump in today and get a month free. You get a month free to play with it, experience it for yourself. As long as you sign up in January, that code is good through the end of the month. Evolving You, January launch. You can go to our landing page and get that app for free. If you decide to stay subscribed to our app is $19.97 a month. So it's less than $20 a month to have access to the emotional intelligence assessment that's powered by Vibonics and over 50 on-demand videos around emotional intelligence and the multiple brain integration techniques. So those videos include like training on the concepts themselves and how to do them, as well as meditations and exercises that will actually lead and guide you through those changes, or guide you through those how to do the steps of self-coaching or walking yourself through that. Then we have a super special pilot launch coaching offer. So, because we want to get as many people into the app right away as we can, so we can get people experiencing it, get people making the changes they want to make in the new year, and get feedback on the app on how they like it and how they're experiencing it, we are offering 3 months of unlimited one on one live coaching. So, 30-minute sessions, one on one live coaching sessions to address your issues. And we will also be offering the virtual suggested actions based on your data. So as you're in the app, we'll send you suggestions on videos to watch, exercises to do, things that we think will help you. And then if you want to go live with us or have a live coaching call, you can set up those calls. And you can set them up all at the beginning. You can set them up throughout as you have needs come up. You can do it in whatever way you want. And you get all of that for just $9.97. So unlimited coaching for 3 months for less than $1,000. And this should make a massive change in your life. Now, if you want to go one step further, we're also offering our massive momentum offer. So this is an additional offer to the other two. So if you want to go deeper and have some deeper one-on-one sessions, for $7.97, we're offering 6 biweekly one-on-one sessions. So these are 75-minute sessions over an hour, so we can really dive into your issue, walk all the way through it, and support you in a significant way. So this is a huge discount off of our normal coaching programs and packages, because we really, again, want to get as many people into the app and using the app as possible, to begin making changes as at the start of this new year. So, as I wrap up these offers, all those links have been put into the comments on all the different platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. If you're interested, go sign up right away, because we want to get as many people in the app as possible, but we only have so many spaces for the coaching programs. So we're only going to offer that to so many people. So make sure you go sign up right away. The coaching will start in February, but you can still have a whole month free of the app, and then you will have access to the app through the coaching program. So through the length of the coaching program. As a reminder, so just to go back to again what we talked about earlier, and as a reminder, as you make changes in your life, even if you choose not to work with us or not to get coaching with us, I want to remind you to seek out support so that that will keep you on track. So find a coach, find a resource, find somebody who's going to hold you accountable and who's going to give you the perspective and input you want. If you are interested in understanding the benefits of coaching and going a little deeper into that, check out the blog article I'm posting today, or the podcast I just dropped today on Evolving to Exceptional, talking about all the reasons that I found coaching to be so important and so impactful. Second, increase your awareness of your emotions to get to the root. If you really want to change those surface level behaviors, you've got to recognize the emotion. So whether you use our tool or not, it is so important that you start looking at what is the root cause of my issue, rather than just trying to change the behavior at the surface. And then finally, check in with yourself to find that unique wisdom, to find an action that's going to work best for you, rather than just following what's worked best for other people, rather than just finding or taking the actions or the 10-step process that's worked for someone else. So as we wrap up, those are the 3 things I really want you to remember no matter what, whether you work with us or not, whether you get our app technology or not. Please take those steps so you can make massive change in your life. And we look forward to and hope that you'll sign up, at least check out the app, see what we have to offer, check us out. If you're not sure, there is a space on that landing page where you can book a discovery call with us and we can have a conversation about what it would be like to do coaching with us. We do offer also one-on-one coaching packages. So if you'd rather have a more in-depth one-on-one coaching package for the next few months, we can do that too. So if you're not sure, if you've got questions, just schedule a discovery call with us. We'd love to talk with you about those. I don't know. I'm gonna just kick it over to see if Meldina, if any questions came through that we want to or need to answer. It doesn't look like it. So if you have questions, if you have input or feedback or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And we're looking forward to hopefully helping you make the changes so that you can accomplish your goals and overcome the challenges this year in a way that you haven't maybe been able to be successful before. And next week, we're going to have another webinar on stress and burnout. So if you want to focus on that topic as well, you can join us then too. So thank you to everybody who is on this webinar, and you'll be seeing more series of webinars from us just offering solutions like this, and look forward to chatting again soon. Thanks for attending.
Thank you, everyone.